We've got a couple folks from Pittsburgh, Dunbar. All right, Altoona I'm seeing in here. Apple, Pittsburgh, good morning from Seattle. All right. So it is 11:02. In my books, if you are not early, you are late. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jonathan Bykowski. I'm the Director of Customer Experience here at Idelic. I've been with Idelic for just coming on 6 years. So for quite a while, I've gotten the chance to work with just about every single one of our customers that are hopefully on this call, or even those prospects that are joining. I can't wait to work with you. My background is not in traditional trucking. I have an enterprise background, but I joined Idelic and have been along for the ride for the past, as I mentioned, about 6 years. And today I am going to take you through a deep dive of professional development plans. This is one of my favorite topics. It's one of my most passionate topics that I have, that I talk about, that I talk with fleets about. And so today I want to take a deep dive into professional development plans in general. What we're going to look at is what they are, what we call them. I want to step you through the Idelic Driver's Safety Playbook. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a demo today inside a Safety Suite. So we're going to do it live. We're going to go inside a Safety Suite, and I'm going to show you professional development plans in there. I then want to take a step back and say, okay, what do you need to do to get started with a professional development plan? And then I'm going to wrap it up with my 5 keys to a successful professional development plan and starting that out right. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in. A little bit of housekeeping. Again, we've got the chat open. Tara, my VP of Customer Experience, is on here with me. She's going to be monitoring chat. We also have a QA section in there. If you've got any questions, please ask along the way. If I don't answer that along the way, we will have some time at the end. As you can see here, we've got an action-packed agenda. I am probably going to take a good 30 to 35 minutes, then we'll wrap everything up with questions at the end, okay? So jumping into this. Last month, during our very first lightning chat, Phil Baker got on and he talked about coaching versus training. And I love to kind of start there as we look at the difference between coaching and training. And as he defined it, when you're looking at something like training, training is giving information and knowledge in a manner that instructs a group or an individual, right? It's very specific. You're addressing a very specific topic. Sometimes that training is used to check the box, maybe for compliance reasons, okay? Everyone has to have, forklift training. Everyone has to have a road test. Everyone has to have certain things and make sure that you are trained in a very, very specific manner. Training is incredibly important. However, it does differ from coaching, right? Coaching is a developmental approach. Working with, interacting with other people, it can be very specific to that individual. It can get them from point A to point B, and not everyone will have the exact same path. And that's why coaching, right, is a different method to learning, to changing behavior, okay? And that's really what differentiates coaching versus training. Now, in the Idelic world, okay, we look at coaching and we call that professional development plans, okay? Or throughout this presentation, I'm going to shorten that to PDPs. All right, as we look at PDPs, okay, PDPs are a form of coaching. It's a way to document goals of what you want to achieve out of a situation or a conversation. It's required skills and competency development, okay, and it's the objectives an individual need to accomplish in order to support their continuous improvement and career development, okay? Now you may be saying, all right, what does this have to do with trucking? And we're going to get there. But as I look at PDPs as a form of coaching, and there's many forms of coaching, and actually Phil went into that last month. So if you get a chance, go ahead and watch that session to look at coaching versus training. And as we look at coaching and that continuous development, right, it fits very, very nicely into trucking, okay? Now, I'm going to kind of break this down. So as we look at PDPs in the trucking world, all right, driving, right, and commercial truck driving is mentally, physically taxing. Whether you're a brand new driver or a skilled driver that's been driving for 10, 20 years, right? There is a way to coach to put someone on a professional development plan to continuously help them monitor and sharpen their skills. And that's where it really, really fits in. Is very, very nice. Okay. Also, focusing on individual goals and what's unique to that driver, and having one-on-one discussions and getting specific feedback and giving specific feedback is another great way to look at why coaching and professional development plans are valuable in the world of commercial transportation. Okay. The third one I have in here as far as why PDPs are important inside of trucking, they are designed to increase self-awareness around a driver's attitude, their behavior, the decisions they're making out on the road, okay, and also helping them with that development, okay? So that's the third reason why, if you look at PDPs in trucking, why they can be so beneficial. The fourth on here is within the transportation industry, there are certain behaviors and risks that are unlike any other industry that's out there, okay? Implementing a professional development program is incredibly effective at reducing accidents, injuries, claims, and then also showing this back to an insurance provider as well. If you can set up a plan, okay, set up a program that's focused on changing behavior and not just a one-off training to potentially check a box, right? You're going to change an attitude, right? You're going to change a behavior. You're going to help a driver make better decisions. And ultimately, by making better decisions, by changing a behavior, by having a one-on-one conversation, you're going to reduce accidents, you're going to reduce injuries, your claims are going to come down because you're changing what a driver is doing out there on the road. Okay. So the last thing to kind of wrap up why PDPs in trucking, I believe professional development plans are the best way to achieve long-term behavioral change. Okay. It's going to not only help the driver, but it's also going to help you and your safety department in your safety program, okay, by having a very prescriptive way to address and change behavior, attitudes, decisions that are happening out there on the road. All right, so that's why I believe PDPs are a great way to change behavior inside of the trucking industry. Now, as we look at what Idelic does for professional development plans, we have our driver safety playbook, okay? Our driver safety playbook is ingrained within our platform, okay? And it's a how-to resource on how you can design, build, and launch your professional development plans and a program around those plans, okay? Within that driver safety playbook, we break down what PDPs to use, when to use them, how to use them, okay? And we give you these pre-built templates, which I'm going to demo here in a little bit, to really help you focus on changing certain behaviors. So as I look at behaviors, okay, to address, what we've done is we've gone out and talked with all of our customers. We've gotten feedback on how they're using our professional development plans today. And 9 behaviors have bubbled up, surfaced up, okay? And these 9 behaviors we have built on that was really the backbone of our Idelic safety playbook is around these 9 behaviors: from following distance, backing, speed management, a failed inspection, traffic control, lane change and merging, distracted driving, defensive driving, and then hours of service violations. All right. So addressing these 9 behaviors covers a broad area, okay, of behaviors that need to be changed, that need to be addressed. And again, can ultimately, by addressing these behaviors, reduce your accidents, reduce those claims, okay, and make you a safer fleet. All right. So as I look at the driver safety playbook we have out there that addresses these, a couple highlights that are in there, okay. Our playbook has these 9 behaviors in a pre-formatted plan templates, okay. They can be used sort of right out of the box. They can also be customized and configured to the way that you run your safety program, okay? With these plans, we include talking points, okay? When I mention talking points, not everyone is very good at talking to a driver, especially maybe even sitting inside of a terminal. You've got some operators that don't naturally have that conversation. So what we provide in those are talking points that allow you to have a consistent prescriptive message to each driver, right? When I'm talking about, say, following distance, I can go through and I can send a task that's attached to a plan to an individual at a terminal so that they can prepare to have the right conversation with the driver around their following distance, okay? And then we can make it prescriptive, so if it's one terminal manager and maybe there's an assistant terminal manager, or it's a driver manager or an operational manager, okay, maybe even someone just outside of safety, you want some sort of prescriptive talking points to make sure that everything is covered, okay? And we like to say that those talking points too are the carrot rather than the stick. It's helping a driver understand the impact that they could have if they make the wrong decision, right? It's not of the tone of, don't do this. If you do this again, that will lead to X, that will lead to termination, that will lead to a write-up. It is understanding the behavior and having a good, consistent conversation to turn that driver behavior around, okay? We also have in there, and I'm going to showcase this here in a minute, using multiple voices, all right? And when I say that, having a different voice instead of the same voice, say it's always coming from safety, okay? Always coming from that safety team. If you vary up that message and you bring in a terminal manager, a driver manager, if you bring in a VP of safety to have a conversation with the driver and even kick off a professional development plan, that's going to mean a lot, right? Just think about a vice president of safety calling up a driver. That's really going to get the attention of that driver. And maybe that's where you kick off that plan, is coming from an authority that says, uh-oh, all right, that driver knows now they've got to pay attention for the next couple of weeks, and that everyone is not just looking at them, but really caring for that change of behavior to make them a safer individual, okay? They want them to come out of this plan with a change of behavior and to be successful. And it's not just the safety team, right? It's company-wide. All right, the last thing on here is that our playbook and our PDPs really help you manage these tasks that are going to go out, okay? These tasks, whether it's having a conversation, whether it's assigning a training, whether it's doing a ride-along, we help you manage the tasks that are in there that you've set up that are part of your professional development plans, okay? Because we're going to talk about too, right? Professional development plans aren't one and done. It's not have a conversation, see how they're doing in 4 weeks, and then it's over. It's a series of continuous conversations, of continuous tasks that happen over a period of time to help change that behavior. So our tasks, what we've got inside of Safety Suite is we have due dates in there, due date reminders, so that, again, if an operator, a terminal manager is incredibly busy, they've got a lot going on, sending them a reminder to say that, hey, you've got to have a conversation with the driver in the next 48 hours, or, you know what, you missed this conversation, let's follow up, right? We send out reminders, and that's all built in within Safety Suite. Again, so I mentioned the task, I mentioned the due dates, and then also you can get a visibility into task completion and progress on your PDPs. Why that's important is if you're assigning professional development plans, and those plans have a series of tasks in them, and maybe it's going out to a couple drivers, you really want to know from a safety perspective, who is doing the follow-up, and are they actually completing those tasks? Maybe you don't have a driver issue with behavior, you have a training issue, or you have a terminal manager issue of where you need to coach a terminal manager instead because they're just not having the conversations. They're not following up on a plan that's been put in place, okay? So within Safety Suite, I'm going to show, we're going to kind of walk through that. So with that, I am going to jump into our demo. And as I'm pulling this up, hopefully everyone can see this. So inside of here, what I've got is, this is a look inside a Safety Suite. So if you're not a current customer, not familiar with this, this is a view of a driver profile. And this driver, Patricia Wilson, is on our watch list, okay? The watch list uses machine learning, right, to bring together a whole bunch of data. All right, that data helps produce a score. And what we can do within Safety Suite is we can actually score a driver and bringing together data from the FMCSA, telematics, camera events, accident history, hours of service, tenure. Okay, we can bring together a lot of different data to help produce a score. And this actually would probably be better for another lightning talk when we really get into specifics around our watch list. But as I look at Patricia here, and Patricia's got a score of 98, and that's 98 out of 100. So she actually is at the very, very top of our watch list. She's one that we should be paying attention to. And as I look at the rest of her profile, I see that Patricia has been with us for 7 months, okay? So not that long, right? She has not been very tenured within our fleet, right? And she may even be more of a junior driver. So as I'm looking at Patricia, one of the things I'm noticing is that when she started with us in January, okay, she had a low risk score of 34, but it has progressively gotten worse over the last 6 to 7 months since she's been a driver with us. In fact, as we go from May to June, we're starting to see a major increase in a change of behavior, in a change of risk that's going on, right? Maybe a change in behavior. Is she getting complacent already? Did she not get the right training? Are there other factors that are going in that's increasing her risk? And what this watch list is telling us, especially a score of 98, is that she is very likely to get into that next preventable accident. As we look at her profile here, she has no accidents, okay? But could one be literally right around the corner? Okay, what are we seeing in the behavior of her that says that we need to address this? So as I look at Patricia and I scroll down, I see a lot of her risks, around 60 points, is made up of just following distance. Patricia is a perfect candidate, even though she is still junior to the company, to put on a professional development plan. So what I do is I click our behaviors of following distance, right? And in a couple more details here, I can actually see that July 16th too, right? So just a week ago, less than a week ago, she had additional following distance issues. So this is a very, very relevant issue. It's been going on since May, and that's why her score is starting to skyrocket up here. All right, so the way that we do this is we're actually going to select the events. I'm going to assign a plan. And loaded inside of here, we've got our 9 professional development plans. I'm actually going to pick the one for following distance, and I'm going to choose a start date of tomorrow. And what this is going to do is, as we assign this plan to Patricia, in the background, what's happening is we've got a recipe, a professional development recipe for following distance. And we've taken this date of tomorrow and we've started to schedule out different tasks that have to happen. Okay. And as you can see here, our recommendation as far as the assignee, this one actually says the driver manager is going to kick off an introduction call. They're also going to schedule a ride along. The safety manager is going to assign training. We've got in week 2, we're going to have a manager check-in. We're going to have another training assigned by the safety manager. We've got another check-in week 3. We're going to do a final ride along the final week, and then we're going to conclude the plan after week 4. Okay, so we've got a 4-week plan. We've got a number of tasks that are going to be assigned to the individuals that are responsible for Patricia changing behavior. Okay. And what I can do in here is, if I wanted to, and I won't for the sake of this demo, I can actually assign these to specific individuals. So I can pick out the driver manager that's assigned to Patricia. I can pick out the safety manager. Maybe if you've got a larger safety department and it's split up, you have some different safety managers that are assigned to different drivers. So I can assign all these tasks. Again, for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and confirm. And now what this is doing, it's creating the plan. Patricia is now on a plan. We can actually see that here, that she is on a following distance plan. Okay. And what we can do is we can take a look at that plan. And as I pull up Patricia's safety plan, we have in here a description of what it means to have correct following distance. Okay. We've got expected outcomes in here. All right. What are we expecting by Patricia being on a following distance professional development plan? What are our expectations? Okay. We give you the points in here to actually go ahead and have that conversation. We have our series of tasks below. So we can see week 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here are all the different tasks that have to happen. And if they're assigned to someone, we'd be able to see those tasks. But these are laid out in chronological order. As you're seeing, this isn't a one and done training. Okay, we're using each week to have a continuous conversation to change that behavior. Okay, from the introduction of the plan to the check-ins, the conclusion of the plan. This is coaching. Right? This is professional development. This is how we drive home the change of behavior and change the following distance for Patricia. Okay. So my expectation coming out of here is that we start to see Patricia's watch list score actually go down because those following distance alerts go away. Okay. And again, that's not going to happen overnight. Right. And if it does happen overnight, right, she's probably not just changing a behavior. She's probably just saying, oh gosh, if I don't stop speeding, or if I don't start following too close, right, that may be my termination. So let me just stop this tomorrow. But if you don't repeatedly have the conversation with her, what's going to happen is in a week, 2, she's going to forget about that initial scare that she had. She's not going to change that behavior. She's going to go right back to having bad following distance. Okay. So this is what a professional development plan looks like inside a safety suite. Now, to manage this, again, because you're probably going to have more than one driver on a professional development plan, within our task list, we actually give you, and I've got a bunch in here in my test environment, but what we've got is a list of all of the different tasks that are assigned. And I can see the tasks that are just assigned to me. I can see tasks that are assigned to maybe my driver manager, my safety manager, my operational manager. I can also pull up, let's see if we can pull up Patricia's tasks. All right. So we've got Patricia's tasks in here. I think I've got more than one Patricia in my environment. But I can see all the different tasks that need to be completed. So let's say today I'm going to introduce my plan to Tricia, and I'm actually going to mark this off. In here, I have talking points. When I mentioned talking points before, these are the talking points that you can literally read to a driver. As a safety manager, operational manager, turn manager, driver manager, right? Safety is critical to you, our company, other drivers on the road, right? Start positive. Professional commercial drivers must continuously monitor their following distance, right? We've got tons of different talking points for you to use for each of the 9 behaviors, okay? It is prescriptive. It's having the same conversation with the driver. Now, it also allows you, though, you can put in your own talking points. If you want to change this so it fits more to your verbiage and your language and the way that you talk to your drivers, you can absolutely do this. But we set this up so it is templatized so you can again have that same conversation in a very, very prescriptive manner. So as I mark these tasks complete, they're going to come off my list. I'm also going to get a reminder to me that, hey, I've got a task in my email, and then also on my tasks here within Safety Suite, that I've got a task due within 48 hours. That task to do within 48 hours, if I don't complete it, I continuously get reminders until that's done. This is a great way to not only for folks in operations, even in safety that have a lot going on, to get a good reminder that they've got to come in, they've got to have the conversation and mark this as complete. The last piece that I want to make sure that you understand here too is that by marking these complete, we actually have a diary function. Okay, so as I come back, I can actually look at here. So I can put in, let's say, check in with Patricia. Okay. And I can put in an update here. So maybe something is happening that's a little bit off schedule. Okay. As I'm completing each task, it's going to be updated here, but I'm also going to be able to write a diary, say what happened. Okay. This is something that maybe at the end, you need to refer back to say, I had the conversation with Patricia, we completed all the tasks, but I also had these additional conversations, and these are some additional insights that I saw. And you can take this diary that is now attached to her profile that will always kind of stick with her, but you can also print this off for reference if you at some point you need to change this and go to legal or something else, or someone else in HR wants to see this. You've got a way to export it out and have a copy of, she was on a plan, here are all the tasks, here are the day the tasks were completed, but also here are my additional notes that are part of this progress update. As we look at Patricia's profile, I can also see, and again, this is a little bit deeper into Safety Suite, but I can see as part of her profile, here's the plan that we put her on. I would also be able to see if she's been on previous plans. Maybe I need to do some sort of progressive discipline because maybe it's not her first time and I need to take it to that next level and I want to put her on a second type of plan. You can do that as well. And you can see her history here. Okay. So this is the Idelic's version of coaching called professional development plans. This is how we coach and monitor. We use our watch list, which is here to help identify those higher risk drivers. For those of you who have maybe gone through a demo, maybe before you came onto the Idelic family, you probably saw me here at the top of the watch list as the riskiest driver within Idelic. I remain the riskiest driver, but I think that's also why I'm able to speak to what can actually help change and drive different behaviors. All right, so within our demo, we're actually going to head back. So I'm going to go back and I want to come and kind of conclude with a couple things. So as we look at getting started with PDPs. Now, professional development plans, as I mentioned, that's a term that we use for coaching. You don't need Safety Suite, right, in order to put together a professional development coaching plan. but I have 4 steps that I recommend you walk through, whether you're going to use Safety Suite or not. Okay. The first thing you want to do is you want to assess and establish a measurable objective. Let's take following distance. Okay. Now your cameras may be set up for certain alerts if a driver's following within 1 or 2 seconds, right? Or let's say within maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds, but your standard is lower than that, right? You want to be notified if they're following for a certain period of time at a certain distance, or maybe it's speed, right? If they're going, 10 miles over a speed limit, but maybe, that's when your camera provider kicks off and sends you an alert. Maybe your benchmark in your company is stay alive at 65. Okay. And if it goes over that, then that's what your metric is that you want to drive. So you first need to establish what your metric is for the type of behavior that you want to change. And another thing to look at too is, when establishing that metric, maybe you're looking at your FMCSA basic scores. Maybe those scores are high within maintenance. So you need to do some sort of pre-check type of professional development plan. Maybe it's around hours of service violations. Okay. Establish what those metrics are for each of the behaviors that you want to change. Once you've established that, you then want to create that plan. Make it prescriptive. Okay. Write it out, document it, use it consistently. Make sure that you're not having one metric for one driver and another metric for another driver, right? They're going to talk, they're going to hear that they're being looked at differently. You want to have a very prescriptive plan based on the behavior you're trying to change and the goals you've established. Next, before you launch, you want to talk to your leadership. You want to talk to your operations managers. You want to get them on board. This will fail if you don't have the right level of support. Okay. If you aren't talking about why you want to do this, and if you don't have those leaders involved, if you don't have those operators involved, don't launch. Okay. It's plain and simple. You want to get them involved from the start so they're bought in, because you know what? You may want to have that VP of safety or that CEO of the company picking up the phone and talking with a tenured driver that's been with you for a while, where you're really focusing on that behavioral change. Okay. So again, talk to those leaders. Talk to your safety team, get people on board, get them ready to go, and then launch. Okay. As you launch that plan, once that plan is finished, you have to measure and adjust. Okay. At the end, you want to look at my plan that was 4 weeks, that was looking at following distance. Am I seeing with my camera provider that I have had following distance alerts drop? If I'm putting a driver on a plan for speeding, have I seen those telematic events come down, right? Is speed coming down? Is harsh braking coming down? You want good concrete metrics, okay, that you can go ahead and say, yes, this plan is working. Because you know what? If you've got that, that's great to show off. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. All right. If it's not working, come back, assess again. Were your metrics too high? Okay. Did you not have enough touch points in there? Was it not over the right period of time? Was it spread out over 1 week or 2 weeks? Right? It's hard to change behavior with just a week or two. Right? You really want to look at the time, what metrics you're establishing. Right? Use that to then look at, are the metrics that you are hoping to change your hypothesis right at the beginning, have they actually been changed? Are they having an impact? Are you seeing a behavioral change within that driver? Maybe an attitude change with that driver. All right. So those 4 steps are really what you need to get started with the PDP plan. Now, as I mentioned, within Safety, we've got that inside of our driver safety playbook. Okay. We actually launched that with every new customer that's coming out. We have those preloaded to go ahead and change and kind of fit into your business. So that is part of our core platform that we do offer. You don't need Safety Suite to go ahead and launch a PDP program. You can do this on your own. You can do it through Excel or Word doc, whatever it is, right? But follow these steps to make sure it's successful. With this, I like to wrap up. I'm going to call these Jonathan's 5 keys to a successful professional development program. So first, start small, okay? We have 9 behaviors that we talked about. Don't launch all 9 at once. If you've never done this before, if you've strictly had a training program and never a coaching professional development program, start small. Pick a single behavior. Pick speeding, following distance, hours of service violations, whatever's got the most attention maybe within your company, start there. Don't overwhelm your safety and ops team with too many tasks and conversations. Okay. You need them bought in. Okay. You need them to start small with a single driver and seeing that change happen before they're willing to put in that effort, before they're willing to prioritize the time that it may take to have the right conversation. And they also want to see those results. So don't put 20, 30 tasks over a 4-week period. Okay. It's going to be way too much. All right. So start small. That's my first tip. Second, find a champion. Okay. You are going to have someone in your fleet that is going to be gung-ho about technology, that's going to be gung-ho around change, that is willing to embrace it. You may have other people that are like, listen, I've been doing the same thing for a while. It's been working. Don't talk to me about that. Those are the wrong people. Find a champion within your fleet that you know will embrace the change, that will have the conversation. Okay, maybe it's a driver manager. Maybe there's an operational manager, that's an assistant operational manager that's looking to make their way up within the company. Find that right person, find a champion, because they are going to talk too. Okay, they're going to talk good and they're going to talk bad. Right? You want them sharing a positive voice out to the other terminal managers, the other driver managers. All right, so find that champion. Number 3, multiple voices and multiple methods of communication. Within the tasks that we've shown, right? It is not always picking up the phone or sitting down with the driver every single time. It's a variety of different things. It can be a text, it can be a video training, it can be a ride along, it can be a Zoom meeting if you don't see that driver every single day. Vary up the types of communication you're using, and then vary up the voices. As I mentioned before, there's something to a VP of safety or a CEO picking up the phone and saying, hey, Johnny, how you doing? Good. I know that we put you on a professional development plan. Just wanted to check in and see how you were doing. I care about you, right? That can mean a lot, especially in the middle of a plan where you may be losing some momentum. Get that senior person involved. Have them help you make that connection, that conversation. Number 4, take your time. Okay. Behaviors take 21 days, 3 weeks, right, to start to change. Right. That's not an Idelic thing. That's not a Jonathan thing. Right? That's an industry thing. Right? Changing a behavior takes 21 days. Plans that are 1 to 2 weeks, if you're expecting behavioral change to come out of there, you've got to give it more time. You've got to look at 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer, right, to go ahead and change that behavior. Okay. You can then use the time after that, week 4 or 5, to assess and maybe close out that plan. All right. Move on to that next driver. Right. Or maybe we need to continue and put them on a different plan. Okay. Maybe we need to assess our entire plan, but take your time while doing this. Don't rush through it. Number 5, showcase your results. Okay. Have that champion show off in a sit-down meeting, a Zoom call. Have them show the results of that driver. Okay. Have them show the Samsara, the Lytics, and Netrodyne events, whatever those events that are coming down. Okay. Have them show those off. Right. Your program was successful. They should be proud of the impact that they had and that behavioral change that they had in that driver, right? Maybe there's no more backing accidents. Celebrate that win. It's a great case to show that our program has been successful, right? It's great for that champion. They're going to talk. They're going to, other people are going to want to hear this and see that, yes, this does have an impact. It's not just being driven down. We have to have these conversations. All right. I have one more key. Okay. So actually I have 6 keys to a successful PDP program. Create some FOMO. If you don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out. With that champion, have them create a fear of missing out to their other peers. All right. How did Johnny, the terminal manager, have those conversations and change that driver behavior? Why does his metrics look so much better than mine? Why do his camera events, his telematic events, his backing accidents, hours of service, whatever that behavior is that you're trying to change, why does that look so much better than mine? I want to do that. Okay. Create that FOMO, fear of missing out. All right. So those are my 5/6 keys to a successful PDP program. All right. So with that, we're going to wrap up. I think we've got some questions in here. Tara may bring you back on. Before I do that, and before we officially wrap up, I'd love to talk with any and all of you if I haven't met you before, whether you're part of the Idelic family or outside. You can find me on LinkedIn, email me at jonathan@idelic.com. I'd love to talk. I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to talk to you about where my passion comes from. more importantly, I'd love to hear from you. I want feedback. What works for you? All right, let's have a good dialogue, let's have a good discussion. Please grab me either on LinkedIn or send an email. I'd love to follow up with you. So with that, Tara, are there any questions out there?
Yeah, Jonathan, there's a couple that came in. One, can you describe how Idelic customers can access the playbook?
Absolutely. So, you know what? I can actually go live right inside of here. And over here underneath the Idelic support hub, okay, we have a little flyout. Now, if you're not seeing this, check your pop-up blockers. I know that can actually stop this from popping out. Look right here, Idelic driver safety playbook. In here, you can view the playbook itself. Okay, and this is a written version of it. All right, some people consume this better written. So we've got the entire playbook here. All right, which has what templates, the different tasks, how we view ongoing activities daily, weekly. Okay, we even spell out in here if I go back. So this is our knowledge hub, by the way. So if I look at here, we can even look at each one. So I'll go to my following distance and space management. All right, and all of this dialogue that's sitting here is actually found inside of each one of our professional development plans. We've just laid it out in an easier to read format at times that you can print off, you can kind of consume, and then you can change. But everything that's sitting in here, inside of here is already preloaded in each one of the templates inside of Safety Suite. The next question.
Sorry, I was on mute. Another question came in around once you have tasks assigned, can you reassign them to someone else?
You can. You absolutely can. So by going into, you know what, I'll just stay within the software. So if I look at my tasks that I have, and so we're going to come back to my task management here, right? You can see who this is assigned to. So if I go into this specific task, and I want to have this plan introduced by someone else, I can actually, in here, actually I'm going to the wrong spot. So let me actually go to the plan here. Within speed management, I can go into each one of these tasks and I can reassign it. So this plan introduction here, I can actually change who this is assigned to. And yes, I can reassign this task.
Excellent. And then another one just came in through the chat. Where can we set up email notifications for tasks?
Another good question. Okay, so within tasks itself, I'm actually going to come up here to alerts. So I've got 3 different types of alerts that I can turn on and turn off. First is task assignment off. So I just want to turn off, no task assignments. And I don't want to see anything. Or I can see tasks due in 2 days or past due tasks. By clicking these and selecting them, now I've got my alerts turned on for both tasks that are upcoming and then tasks that are past due.
And last call for any other questions. You can use the chat or the QA function.
All right. So if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Again, I want to thank all of you for your time. I know it's summer. I know all of you are busy. I'm sure you're short-staffed out there. Hopefully, we've given you some tips, some tricks, some change management to go ahead and make a PDP program successful for your fleet. Again, I'll reiterate, get a hold of me, ask me some questions if things pop up. Also, I know that a lot of you current customers work with our CSM. We've got Charles, Angela, and Tyler. They're also very, very well versed in everything I talked about today. All right, so reach out to your CSM, or if you want to connect with me directly, please feel free, and have a great, safe week. Thank you all very much.